If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Cal, UK-based Pokemon collector, investor, and now trying to run a business as well. Love everything Pokemon TCG and just want to share my thoughts and opinions on the hobby as a whole. So on the topic of today's video, let's head over to Pulse TCG and start to look at the numbers. So I'm going to pull up the 151 booster bundle first, and the reason I'm doing that is I think most of us in the Pokemon investing world is expecting Prismatic Evolutions to kind of follow the path that 151 set earlier this year. As we know, 151 went out of official rotation back at the start of April, and in the couple months preceding that, we've seen this huge run up in price, which you can see on the chart here. From around Christmas time, where it was at like a low point, it's an absolutely catapulted up. We're looking at the booster bundle here, from £70, doubled in price up to 140. Just insane 100% growth just over a couple months period. And we know a lot of people are now looking at Prismatic, hoping and expecting it to do the same thing. So if we look a bit further back on the 151 booster bundle price path, we can see that it had a mini run up a few months earlier. It went from around £58 there in July, is that, all the way up to £96 in early September. You know, that's a really big run up. But when it hit that spike, we did get another little restock, you know, a few more hit the market, and the price then started to just drift back down gradually, stayed steady for a while, then had a mini dip up until that Christmas point that we just talked about. And that's when then people really cottoned on that, oh my God, this is going out of rotation. This is the chance. This is the last chance to buy some now before it's going to explode. And it did explode, didn't it? If we hop over to the Elite Trainer box, we can see the exact same pattern. In that September time, it had a run up from 197 up to a high of 350, which again is a big run, but then just drifted slowly down slightly, held steady, and then at Christmas time, 287 there, bang, huge run up into the mid-March, £500 for basic 151 Elite Trainer box, which is absolutely mad. So if we move over to Prismatic Evolutions now, we'll start on the Elite Trainer box. What I'm looking at here, which makes me think it's getting primed now, and it's showing the same kind of signals that 151 has shown in its historic price graph there, is that we've just had the mini run up on the ETB and the bundles. So you can see we've sat down here in January at 125, 122, and it's had a decent climb now from that point up to nearly 180. That's like nearly a 50% run, which a lot of people I think have just glossed over, like as if it's nothing. And then we've hit that top, and it's just starting to drift down again now, just like we just seen on the 151 charts. I expect this kind of drift and like flattening just to go out for maybe another month or two, maybe a couple of months. And that's where you need to keep your eye on this, because as we've seen with 151, as soon as it stays flat and low for a long enough period of time, people will realise that that's the chance to pounce, and they'll want to load up, stock up before the expected run into when it goes out of rotation, when we expect to see the prices increase. If we hop over to the bundle just to compare, look, it's doing the exact same thing. It's had a run from a low point in around Christmas time, 47, had a big run up to from 47 to 74. It's a huge increase, and now it's just tailing off again. If we look over to the 151, I'm comparing it to this point here where it's had a good run and now just tailing off. And in the world of finance, and especially in the world of trends and hype markets, one thing that is always consistent are patterns. Now, they may show themselves differently here and there, but patterns when it comes to investing in finance are things that you really want to look out for. Like, investors love patterns, because if they've seen that something's acted a certain way in the past, then they feel confident that it's going to do it again in the future. And the price action that we've seen from 151 in the past is now giving investors even more confidence, I think, in Prismatic Evolutions to do something similar. Now, it won't be exactly the same as 151. There's going to be some differences. And one of the stark differences is the current price points at the moment. If we take the Prismatic Elite Trainer box, currently sat at £157, 10 months before it goes out of rotation. If we compare that to the 151 Elite Trainer box, 10 months before that went out of rotation, it was already over 200. It's a big difference, that. But this is obviously explained by the fact that 151 was probably not printed as much as Prismatic. Prismatic's been printed into the ground. A lot more of 151 was getting ripped, so there's probably less available ETBs, and a lot less was getting hoarded back then as well. Nowadays with Prismatic, it's been printed so much, and a lot more people are stashing these and sitting on them as well. So it's inevitably going to keep the price point a bit lower at the moment, because there's definitely a lot more of it around. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to have a similar style run. So if we look at where 151 was 10 months ago at 200, and then it ran up to 500, That's a 150% increase. Now, do I think Prismatic will have a 150% increase from where we are now at £150? That would take it to what? Do the maths, £375 per ETB just by next April. I don't think it'll be that high, to be honest. I don't think we'll see that quite sharp spike of growth like we did with 151, purely because there's a lot more of it around and it doesn't have that it doesn't have the nostalgia that 151 does, that brings all the older investors in as well. But do I expect it to see a significant price increase from where we are now at 157? Absolutely. I think well over 200 easily. I think 250 is probably a realistic price point for the Prismatic ETBs this time next year. And for the bundles, I mean, let's compare to 151. They were sat at 65 and they've more than doubled up to 140. Similar path as the ETB. We're now sat at around the same, actually, 67 as the 151 bundles were 10 months before they went out of rotation. So where do I expect to see these go? I don't expect them to go up to 140, but I think they'll clear 100, and I can see them sitting at maybe that 100 to 110 mark. But for me, it's interesting looking at numbers like this, trying to spot the patterns and seeing what is similar to what's happened before, and see if we can spot what's going to happen in the future. Because I mean, we can't all predict the future, can we? But we can use patterns and use data to try and get a good idea for it. Another thing I'd suggest with the 151 bundles is that I don't think they'll have their big run after Christmas. I think so many more people are aware of what's going on now with it going out of rotation after seeing what 151 did. I think people will stock up earlier, and I won't be surprised to see the price movement on the 151 items start way before Christmas, maybe around 30th or just after 30th. I think people will start buying these up and we'll see that price action start to move a lot sooner, 151. So they're the two main differences compared to the 151 set, is the price points will be a bit lower. I think the percentage gains will be a touch lower, but I think the action will come earlier. So if you're wanting to get in on Prismatic and you're into your Pokemon investing, with these prices coming down at the moment, I think this is the ideal opportunity, or the last chance to get in at a reasonable price where you can buy numerous amounts to try and like load up a little bit before the price does inevitably shoot up. And if you like Pokemon investing content or just anything TCG related in general, collecting, Pokemon business stuff, then I am on TikTok under the same name, Cal's Pokemart. I'm trying to expand into Instagram. I'm trying to expand now onto YouTube a little bit. I love getting out there and getting my opinions out there, having conversations with people, answering in the comments as much as possible. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, please drop a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.